anti-war activist, and a writer, 1927 to 2006. And this is her early life. Coretta Scott King was born Coretta Scott on April 27, 1927 in Marion, Alabama. In her early life, Coretta was as well known for her singing and violin playing as her civil rights activism. She attended Lincoln High School, graduating as the school's valedictorian in 1945, and then enrolled at Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Ohio, where she received a Bachelor of Arts and degree in music and education. After graduating from Antioch, Coretta was awarded a fellowship to the New England Conservatory Music in Boston, Massachusetts, the city where she would meet her future husband, famed civil rights leader, Martin Luther King Jr. At the time, Martin Luther King Jr. was studying theology at Boston University. Coretta earned her second collegiate degree in voice and violin from the New England Conservatory of Music in the 1950s. Not long after, on June 18, 1953, Coretta and Martin married and moved to Montgomery, Alabama, where he served as pastor of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, and she subsequently oversaw the various tasks of a pastor's wife, civil rights activist. Working side by side with her husband throughout the 1950s and 60s, Coretta took part in the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955, journeyed to Ghana to mark the nation's independence of 1957, traveled to India on a pilgrimage in 1959, and worked to pass the 1964 Civil Rights Act, among other civil rights-related work. Though best known for working alongside her husband, Coretta established a distinguished career in activism in her own right. Among many roles, she worked as a public mediator and as a liaison to peace and justice organizations. The death of Martin Luther King Jr. On April 4, 1968, while standing on a balcony outside the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, Martin Luther King Jr. was struck and killed by a sniper's bullet. The shooter, a malcontent drifter and former convict named James Earl Ray, was hunted for nearly 2 months before he was apprehended. King's assassination sparked riots and demonstrations in more than 100 cities across the country. Following her husband's assassination, Coretta continued their work. She founded the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change based in Atlanta, Georgia, serving as the center president and chief executive officer from its inception. In 1980, the 23-acre site around Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthplace was designated for use by the King Center. The following year, a museum complex was dedicated on the site. In 1995, Coretta passed the reins of the King Center over to her son Dexter, but she remained in the public eye for several years thereafter until her death in 2006. She wrote regular articles on social issues and published a syndicated column and was a regular commentator on CNN beginning in 1980. In 1997, she called for a retrial for her husband's alleged assassin, James Earl Ray. Ray died in prison before the trial could be effective on April 23, 1998. Coretta was behind the 15-year fight to have her husband's birthday instituted as a national holiday. President Ronald Reagan finally signed the bill in 1983, thusly creating Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Additionally, she published a memoir, My Life with Martin Luther King Jr. in 1969. Coretta and Martin Luther King Jr. had 4 children together: Yolanda Denise, an actress; Martin Luther III, who now serves as the president of the Southern Christian Fellowship Leadership Conference; Dexter Scott, who runs the King Library and Archive; and Bernice Albertine, a lawyer and Baptist minister. Coretta Scott King suffered a heart attack and stroke in August 2005. She died less than a year later on January 3rd, 2006, at the age of 78 in Playas del Rosarito, Mexico. Today, King is remembered for her brave work on behalf of civil rights in the United States. Her life has been an inspiration to many over the past several years and will continue to inspire for decades to come.
Amen.